A number of them will also become infected with measles. So we are in close contact with those individuals. We do expect additional infections because of that.
2 of the 5 total cases involved pregnant Utahns who were also unvaccinated. Officials say that's especially dangerous. Measles can lead to miscarriage or serious complications for newborns. Health leaders are urging anyone who isn't vaccinated to get the MMR shot. And if you're planning to get pregnant, get vaccinated first. Live in Salt Lake City, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Any unvaccinated Utahns worried about the spread of measles can still get the vaccine. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla continues our team coverage.
It's most commonly provided to babies or young children, but there's no age restriction. Anyone can get it, even those who think they may have been exposed to it.
What would happen is their body would start to build up immunity, and it would protect them. Let's say that they were exposed, then if they had the vaccine and it started to build up immunity, then their symptoms would be less.
Utah Department of Health Immunization Director Rich Lakin says the vaccine is also not a guarantee someone won't get it. The measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine is 93% effective with the first dose and 97% effective with the second, but no vaccine is 100% effective. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
We have more on this story posted at kslnewsradio.com. U.S. Department of Agriculture is working on plans to vaccinate poultry against the bird flu. State veterinarian Amanda Price says that there are some obstacles to overcome, including some states that may put a ban on meat from animals that have been vaccinated.
There's more to this than just, can we get a vaccine that's effective, but really what impact is this going to have on our interstate trade as well?
Price says the USDA is still making a decision on bird flu vaccinations, and they continue to encourage poultry farmers to keep their flocks away from wild birds. KSL's top national story. Several proposals related to Medicaid were stripped from President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill today. The Senate parliamentarians struck down a number of provisions that would have cut government spending for the welfare program to offset the cost of the president's proposed tax cuts. Proposed cuts to Medicaid and the so-called big, beautiful bill could negatively impact tens of thousands of people here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi has more on the claim from local health advocates. Tammy?
Maria, Medicaid cuts would impact areas you might not realize, according to Matt Sloniker, Executive Director of the Utah Health Policy Project.
Around substance use, around criminal justice recidivism, and Medicaid really has been the answer for things like that.
Sloniker says the requirement for recipients to work would mean tens of thousands of Utah will be dropped from Medicaid rolls in Utah, even though they have valid reasons for not working. He also says the cuts could hit rural Utah the hardest and could mean the closure of up to 3 hospitals in rural areas. He encourages people to contact their congressional representatives. Reporting live, Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
The CDC's new vaccine advisory panel is meeting for a second day. Among the issues that they are discussing are RSV shots for newborns. ABC's Phil Lipoff has more.
It's a long-lasting antibody created in a lab. And if it's signed off on, usually the CDC director has to sign off on it, but because there's no CDC director right now, HHS Secretary Kennedy would have to sign off on it. If he does sign off on it, it will be offered to babies younger than 8 months old who were born during or just prior to the RSV season in the fall or winter, and it would obviously be to protect them.
Today, the panel voted in favor of that shot. Other national stories KSL is following amid the increased immigration enforcement in Southern California. There are some new numbers. ABC's Alex Stone is in Los Angeles.
In the LA area, there were 722 ICE arrests in the first 10 days of June, according to the Deportation Data Project. The research group saying 30% of those arrested were convicted criminals, 11% had pending criminal charges, and about 57% of those arrested had no criminal history at the time that they were taken into custody, according to the data. The vast majority are men, 82%, almost half from Mexico. ICE data showing as of June 15th it had over 56,000 immigrants in custody, with 46% having no criminal history. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
There is now a reward out for the 2 missing kids from Idaho that police believe may have been taken by their older sister back to the FLDS community in Cache County. 15-year-old Rachel and 13-year-old Alan Fisher were last seen on Sunday. Their mother told us they were previously part of the FLDS community, but she had since left and she wanted her children to leave too. Now, the Uvalde Foundation for Kids is offering a reward of up to $5,000 for the safe return of the teens. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Michelle Rowe.
Good afternoon, Maria. We're already looking at some delays for drivers southbound I-15 due to some debris in the road. This is going to slow you down between 5300 South and Murray, down to about 7200 South. Other than that, pretty quiet on I-15. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:06.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
In today's digital world, outdated technology can slow you down. You need a partner who keeps you ahead of the curve. At Les Olson IT, we help your business thrive with top-tier office technology, from copiers and IT hardware to advanced IT services and security solutions. With Les Olson IT, you get more than just products. You get solutions, service, and a team that cares. Les Olson IT, empowering businesses with the tools for success. Les Olson IT.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
Thank you for joining me for Midday. Recapping our top story this hour, there are 2 new measles cases in Utah, and now health officials say out of the 5 cases in the state, 1 of them is a child and 2 are pregnant. KSL News Time, 12:08. Sandy City is making changes to allow smaller homes. KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez has more.
City Planning Director Mike Wilcox says the city made this change to be more in line with changes made to state requirements.
I think the intent behind the state's changes were to promote affordable housing and at least make sure that city regulations weren't preventing smaller home from being created in a neighborhood.
Wilcox says the minimum size for a single-family home would change to 1,000 square feet, and he says this would allow smaller, more affordable homes to be built. He says more plans are being made to build more homes along the edge of the city and in commercial centers. Josue Sanchez, KSL News Radio.
Ogden City is announcing a new round of funding for their Own in Ogden program. It gives up to $10,000 to home buyers in the city. Ogden Communications Director Mike McBride says that they've heard so many great stories about this program helping people achieve their goals.
And said, that's my house. I love it. This program helped me so much. And somebody else in the same thread, they said, I benefited from this more than 15 years ago, and we almost have our home paid for.
The funding comes from the city and the Federal Home Investment Partnership Program. You can apply at ogdencity.com/owninogden. New homes are popping up everywhere as the state looks to combat the ongoing housing crisis, but a new study says brand new homes are going to cost Utahns even more.
That's according to analysts with Inspired Closets, a home storage company, who say you're going to be paying about $10,000 more for a new home in the Salt Lake area than you would for an existing home, with the average new build sitting at just over $551,000. But on the bright side, that gap here in Utah is about 4 times lower than the national average.
That is KSL News Radio's Adam Small. The study says the average mortgage payment for a new home here in Salt Lake is more than $2,800 a month. KSL Sports. The NBA draft continues today. Yesterday, the Utah Jazz used their 5th pick in the NBA draft to get Ace Bailey from Rutgers. KSL Sports anchor Sam Farnsworth says Bailey was a best-case scenario for the Jazz front office.
This is a guy at Rutgers in his 1 year there as a freshman who averaged nearly 18 points a game and about 8 rebounds per game. He can shoot the three-pointer, 35% from three-point range.
We'll talk to KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen more about the draft coming up at 12:15. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Michelle Rowe.
It looks like somebody lost their load southbound I-15 right about 7200 south. They did have the 3 right lanes blocked in that area. They did get that picked up for the most part, but still I'm seeing some debris in those right lanes, so use some caution going through that area. Once you get through that, the heart of the valley is looking good. Also looking good I-15 in Utah County. Typical slowing due to construction. This is southbound I-15 in Kaysville, right around Shepherd Lane. And just a heads up, if you're headed southbound on I-84 to take the ramp, this is in the Echo area, to go eastbound I-80, we still have a semi that is laid over on its side. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, we had our fun with the 70s and 80s the last several days. Now it's time for mid-90s. I got a 94 today, mostly sunny. 95 tomorrow, mostly sunny again. A little more cloud cover, partly cloudy, and 94 on Saturday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, a lot of sunshine and 88 degrees. Still to come on Midday. The NBA draft continues today, and the NHL draft starts tomorrow. We'll pick the brain of KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen on what the future of Utah's professional sports teams could look like. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
2 more unvaccinated Utahns have been diagnosed with measles, bringing the state's total to 5 as health officials urge vaccination to stop the spread. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, there is now a $5,000 reward out for 2 missing Idaho children. Their mother believes they may be headed back to an FLDS community in Utah. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
Residual delays, Maria, southbound I-15 right at the south interchange due to an unsecured load that fell onto the freeway. You're going to see delays between 5300 south and 7200 south, southbound I-15. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, mostly sunny and 94 today. Slight breeze as well. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's partly cloudy, 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The White House continuing to push back on an early intel assessment that U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities set back the program by months. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a briefing today says a CIA assessment shows severe damage and a setback of years. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also says Iran's claims that they removed uranium before the strikes is wrong.
We were watching closely, and there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
The White House also says there's no date set yet for talks between the U.S. and Iran to resume. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
The president said yesterday that officials from the U.S. and Iran would be meeting next week for conversations about Iran's nuclear program. But as of right now, no meeting appears to be scheduled. The president, though, in that same answer at his press conference yesterday, also indicated that he didn't think any conversations with Iran would produce a breakthrough, or he didn't think that they would even be necessary at this point.
Newly replaced members of a CDC vaccine advisory panel meeting for a second day and voted already to recommend an RSV antibody shot for newborns. ABC's Phil Lipoff has more.
It's a long-lasting antibody created in a lab. And if it's signed off on, usually the CDC director has to sign off on it, but because there's no CDC director right now, HHS Secretary Kennedy would have to sign off on it. If he does sign off on it, it will be offered to babies younger than 8 months old who were born during or just prior to the RSV season in the fall or winter, and it would obviously be to protect them.
The panel also today voting in favor of removing a preservative from flu vaccines that are included in 4% of those shots. Closing arguments underway today in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial in New York City, now in its 6th week. Prosecutors are up first, followed by the defense. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. It's draft week for the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth as the NBA draft wraps up tonight and the NHL draft starts tomorrow. Joining me now live is KSL sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen. Jeremiah, thanks for being with me. We did have some surprises last night, but what are your thoughts on the Jazz's picks last night for Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton Jr.?
I think if you're a Jazz fan, you've got to be really excited. You start with Ace Bailey. This is a player that some people had as high as the second best player in this draft. Most people had him as the third best player, and you got him at number 5. That was a really nice move for them to be able to get that kind of value with that pick. And he's a player who is polarizing because he didn't want to work out for any teams. He didn't work out for any teams, and his agent was trying to manipulate where he ended up in the draft. But ultimately, the Jazz say, you know what, we got you at number 5. You're going to come here and you're going to play. And I think that he's going to have a good attitude about it. And he's a young kid. By all accounts, he's a great kid. And he's an excellent basketball player. He has star potential. And the Jazz really need a star for this team, a young star. That's why they had the season they had last year, is because they wanted a chance to get a player like this, and they did. And Walter Clayton Jr. is the opposite. He's an older player. He's got a daughter. He won a national championship. He was the Final Four MVP. This is a kid that can bring leadership and shot making at the guard position. So you look at the draft, you got a player with star potential. You got a guy that can be an alpha and a leader on your team. That's a pretty good draft for the Jazz.
Okay, so let's talk about tonight. They get, what, a second-round pick? Is there any chance they could get another star?
At number 53,
no.
The odds are very, very, very slim. But I will remind you that the best player in the NBA right now is Nikola Jokic. He was a second-round pick. There's plenty of examples of second-round picks that have hit big in the NBA. Some of the best players in the NBA history were second-round picks or went undrafted. So are the odds great? Absolutely not. Is it possible? Certainly. And you have to take every pick in this draft seriously, because if you do your homework, you can find that diamond in the rough and hit big like the Denver Nuggets did with Nikola Jokic. So the Jazz have the 53rd pick. They traded one of their second-round picks yesterday in the trade to move up to get William Clayton Jr., so they do have a late second-round pick. Let's see what they do tonight. And there may be other moves that could be done as well with their veterans. So stay tuned for that. There could be some things going on. But ultimately, Maria, your excitement and your optimism about a 53rd pick should be pretty low. Okay. But then, hey, then you're not really disappointed. So right. who knows?
And we didn't expect what we got last night. So who are the
exactly?
Yeah, let's turn to hockey for a minute. Who are the Utah Mammoth looking at taking with the number 4 pick tomorrow?
Oh, there's a number of players. They're going to have a lot of options. We just don't know what's going to happen in front of them. It's kind of like last night with the Jazz in the NBA draft. We just don't know what the teams in front of them want to do. They have the number 4 pick overall right now. There's several good prospects. I won't bore you with all the names. Ultimately, there's going to be a really good player that's available there at number 4. What you need to look out for tonight is the Mammoth are in a position where they might want to trade that number 4 overall pick if they can get a quality player that's in the league right now in return. I think they've done their homework. They're ready to take that number 4 pick, and they would add another young star player to their arsenal of young star players. They got a lot of youth and a lot of young players. I think that there's a position or two where they want to get a little older. They just pulled off a big trade last night, getting J.J. Peterka from the Buffalo Sabres for Josh Stone and Michael Kesselring. So, and they got him on an extension already locked up. So that was a big addition they had last night before the draft even started, was getting a young player, age 23, that had 68 points in the league last year. So they already upgraded last night, and then they can upgrade here at number 4. But stay tuned. They might pull off a trade here, the Utah Mammoth, as they try to get better and make a push to get in the playoffs next year.
Okay, we'll be watching. Thanks, Jeremiah, for your time.
You got it.
Live KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen. Let's get you up to date now on the drive. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle, what's going on?
That's okay, Maria. Well, I'm looking at a live shot of a new crash. It's not on the main flow of I-15, but it is down in Lehigh, 2100 North exit. So it's just west of the freeway. It's saying that it's 1400 west. So we have a serious accident here. There's a truck that's actually wrapped around a power pole. Another couple of cars involved. It is affecting traffic trying to head westbound on 2100 North. So you're going to need to use some caution in that intersection, and they're not going to let you through to go westbound at this point. You're going to be forced to go northbound on the through road through there at 1400 West. Now for drivers headed southbound I-15 in the heart of the valley, still looking at some slowdowns due to that earlier debris that was in the road. This is right between 5300 South, 7200 South, and prior to that, ongoing construction slowing you down in the Shepherd Lane area between Kaysville and Farmington. Garden City, Utah, and beautiful Bear Lake presents Little Texas on July 5th at the Garden City Heritage Park. Games, live music, and a fireworks show, all free. Visit bearlake.org for details. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, looking hot. Nothing cooler than 94 over the next 7 days. I got this afternoon at 94, mostly sunny. 95, mostly sunny again on Friday. Saturday, mid-90s, partly cloudy. How about a 95 on Sunday, mostly sunny skies? We get a bit of a southerly flow on Monday. We're going partly cloudy, 99. 97, partly cloudy, mountain storm possible Tuesday. Wednesday, similar deal, 96. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, a bit of sunshine and 88 degrees. And taking a quick check of the markets at this hour, the Dow right now, it's up by 372 points. Complete update of your money news is coming up next. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art. When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
KSL News Time 1227. Fortnite players can now sign up for a round of refunds after the Federal Trade Commissioner determined the company engaged in deceptive charging practices.
Epic Games is the maker of the wildly popular game. They agreed to pay $126 million to settle these claims that it tricked players into making purchases. There were things like confusing buttons, intentionally hard to find cancel and refund options, and purchases that did not need parental permission. The FTC says Epic Games also ignored several or many, when I read the complaint, it was more than 1 million consumer complaints.
That is ABC's Sam Champion reporting. Watching Utah's Money, Monster, and Career Builder are out of luck. The job-seeking websites have filed for bankruptcy. CNN reports the two were some of the biggest companies in the 1990s and even have Super Bowl commercials. College graduates are having a harder time finding a job. The unemployment rate for degree holders ages 22 to 27 has reached its highest level in a dozen years and is higher than the overall unemployment rate. The gap is larger than it's been for more than 3 decades. Anyone looking for a part-time job is in luck. Spirit Halloween is already looking to hire 50,000 workers for its pop-up stores. USA Today reports the stores typically open in August, and this year we are looking at 1,500 retail locations across the U.S. And taking a look at your money at this moment, a great day for the markets. The Dow up by nearly a full percent, up 372 points. It sits at 43,354. S&P up by 46. The NASDAQ also up by nearly a full percent, up 188 points.
Over 3/4 of Americans will experience foot pain, and most will just live with that pain every day. But Foot Solutions in Orem is here to change that. Here's Amanda from Provo.
I am an active woman, ex-Division I basketball player at BYU. By trade, I'm a PE teacher. Over the last 2 years is when my feet really started hurting.
And that's when Amanda's life changed with a visit to Foot Solutions in Orem.
My experience at Foot Solutions was so unique to any other experience I've had. Over an hour they spent with me, really going over my specific pain points.
After discovering so many solutions and custom in-house made orthotics, what does Amanda want you to know?
Invest in your health. Don't be cheap to your feet. Living a pain-free, active life again has been worth every cent.
Just search for Foot Solutions in Orem and find out more at footsolutions.com.
I'm Amanda from Provo. I'm 47 years old, and Foot Solutions has given me back a pain-free, active lifestyle.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky? Oh, excuse me, Michelle? Oh, Michelle, I am such a creature of habit.
No worries,
I can't
Maria.
see you.
I know.
I need to see you, Michelle.
I know.
What's
Hi,
happening?
Maria. Okay, so heads up for drivers if you're in Lehigh. We do have a serious crash where there's a truck that's hit a power pole, and the bed is actually detached from the cab, and it's wrapped around this pole. They're trying to work on getting this cleared up, but this is at 2100 North for drivers headed westbound and 1400 West. So you will not be allowed to go westbound on 2100 North at this time. For drivers on I-15, that earlier delay due to debris in the Murray and Midvale area, they do have that at those speeds going better now. And then, of course, prior to that, we do have the slowdowns due to ongoing construction in Kaysville and Farmington around Shepherd Lane. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today with a high of 94 and a light breeze out of the south. I'll go for 66 overnight, mostly clear skies. 95 tomorrow to 94 partly cloudy on Saturday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, 88 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time, 12:30. Firefighters are already running into problems with people illegally lighting off fireworks. They're now calling on people to be smart with them as we get closer to the 4th of July.
We do see a dramatic increase in fires once fireworks go on sale, such as the case is last night down in Cedar Hills.
Salt Lake City Fire Captain Brant Handcuff says they've already responded to a number of wildfires in the Salt Lake Valley and in Salt Lake City this year. And now that fireworks are on sale, they want to make sure those don't contribute to the danger.
We'll have red flag warnings pretty much daily, probably throughout July is what we're anticipating. We're anticipating an even busier and drier condition throughout this summer.
You can legally shoot off fireworks between July 2nd and July 5th, but Handcuff says that doesn't mean it'll be safe to do so during that time, like, for example, if it's really windy.
If conditions are still unsafe, even within that window, please refrain from using the fireworks.
Handcuff says check your city's website to make sure there aren't any further restrictions before you light off fireworks, and make sure not to do so if the weather is bad or if you plan to drink alcohol. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Firefighters in Utah County say the fire that broke out last night in Cedar Hills essentially stayed within the fire lines overnight. As of last update, the fire has burned 14 acres, and at one point it threatened as many as 150 homes.
This fire was very, very scary for us. It was close to being a catastrophic event.
American Fork Fire Rescue Battalion Chief Brandon Beauchard says that they are worried about canyon winds potentially helping that fire grow and move down the mountain. Fire is about 20% contained so far, and as we just mentioned, officials believe that it was caused by illegal fireworks. We do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. We're keeping an eye on a brush fire in Spanish Fork just off of Spanish Oaks Drive. There are massive plumes of smoke in the area. We will continue to follow this and bring you the very latest. More than 700 firefighters continue to battle the Forsyth fire in Washington County. Forest Service employee Joe Flores tells KSL TV he's working with the weather team, which tries to predict where the fire might go next.
And so that's as firefighters are, engaged in a fire, that somebody's standing back and being able to look at the fire environments and help them stay safe.
He says their top priority is keeping people and property safe. So far, the fire has burned almost 10,000 acres. Officials believe it was caused by lightning. KSL's top national stories. There's still an open question as to how much of Iran's nuclear materials were damaged in the U.S. strikes over the weekend. The Trump administration is standing by its assessments that the 3 sites that were targeted were totally destroyed. And the International Atomic Energy Agency says the centrifuges at Fordo nuclear facility have suffered a great deal. But Iranian officials may have moved uranium and other materials off-site ahead of those strikes. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt insists that nothing was moved.
We were watching closely, and there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
This, as there's also questions as to whether Iran and the U.S. will reignite talks. More from ABC's Karen Travers.
The president said yesterday that officials from the U.S. and Iran would be meeting next week for conversations about Iran's nuclear program. But as of right now, no meeting appears to be scheduled. The president, though, in that same answer at his press conference yesterday, also indicated that he didn't think any conversations with Iran would produce a breakthrough, or he didn't think that they would even be necessary at this point.
Today, U.S. senators are set to get a classified briefing about the attack on Iran's nuclear sites. They are also set to vote on whether President Trump would need congressional approval for any future attacks on Iran. The family of a 32-year-old woman in Los Angeles who was arrested by ICE agents this week says that she is a U.S. citizen who did nothing to warrant her arrest.
Andrea Velez had just been dropped off by her family for work on Tuesday morning when caught on video. Velez is seen being arrested by federal agents. With her U.S. passport in hand, her family says she is a U.S. citizen. For 24 hours, her attorneys could not find her, and when they did, the federal government wouldn't tell them what she was being held for. Velez's attorney.
Just to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you have the full weight of the federal government against you.
Her attorneys argue she was arrested simply for looking Latino. She remains in custody. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A 62-year-old woman was killed this morning in Spanish Fork while trying to cross a busy street. City spokesperson Jack Urquhart says that this happened at the corner of Spanish Fork Parkway and SR 51.
They're crosswalks. You should be looking for pedestrians, but it's not a place that if you take that road a lot, you don't see a ton of pedestrians. Maybe especially early in the morning.
He says the driver is cooperating with police, and they are looking to see if the rising sun might have been in the driver's eyes. Major road construction projects are happening this weekend, including a full closure of I-15 in Davis County. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
Most of the construction will affect the transitions from one freeway to another for paving and striping. They include the ramps from I-215 in Midvale to go southbound I-15 and the connector between the West Side Belt and westbound 201 freeway. However, I-15 northbound will be completely shut down at US 89 in Farmington for bridge demolition.
For more information on road closures, go to udot.utah.gov. First Look Traffic, here's Michelle Rowe.
Maria, still looking at this crash in Lehigh, 2100 North and 1400 West. Again, if you're trying to get through that area, you will not be allowed to go through the normal lanes on the to go westbound. Actually, they just are, as I'm talking, they're starting to let some cars go the wrong way, headed westbound. So it looks like they're going to be alternating traffic through that area. I-15 in good shape in Midvale. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:37.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, firefighters are warning people to handle fireworks safely, as we've already had a fire caused by them this year, last night's fire in Cedar Hills. KSL News Time, 12:38. Draper tech company Pluralsight is laying off employees as it prepares to leave the state. KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson has the story.
Pluralsight laid off 17% of its global workforce. That's more than 300 people, including many here in Utah. The Salt Lake Tribune reports the company is set to trade Utah's mountains for the Texas plains as they move their corporate headquarters. Officials say any Utah employees who made it through the layoffs will transition to remote work. This is the third year in a row Pluralsight has laid off employees, with many people who were let go saying on LinkedIn the layoffs are part of the company's efforts to restructure. Vril Johansson, KSL News Radio.
Utah has more than double the national average of MS cases, and today a new clinic opens bringing specialized care to Utah County.
Lehigh is the home to the new Rocky Mountain MS Clinic, offering comprehensive MS care. Leading the clinic is MS specialist Dr. Yashma Patel, who says it's much needed since Utah has so many cases, and up until now, there's only one other clinic like it in the state.
Help some of the patients that have been traveling, actually from all 5 surrounding states, the whole Intermountain West kind of region.
Patel says patients will have access to the most cutting-edge care, along with the ability to see a provider and receive infusions at one location. It also has a clinical research center. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Overall, looking really good on I-15 at this point, Maria. Just minor slowing going southbound through the Shepherd Lane area due to that ongoing construction. Through the heart of the valley, in pretty good shape. We still have this serious crash, though, down in Lehigh. This is 2100 north, 1400 west, blocking a right lane and shoulder for drivers making their way westbound on 2100 north. So you're going to need to use some caution going through that area. They have wreckers in the center of the intersection working on getting that cleared. Once you're past that, seeing good speeds all the way to Provo and beyond. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, 94 today. Mostly sunny skies and a bit of an afternoon breeze, hopefully not causing trouble with that fire that started in Cedar Hills. 66 in the overnight, mostly clear skies. We'll bounce back to 95, mostly sunny on Friday. Saturday, partly cloudy, 94. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, but we've reached 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, the Supreme Court made a ruling today that may allow states to cut off Medicaid funding to Planned Parenthood. We'll get the response from Planned Parenthood of Utah. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Julie from the Cache Valley Visitors Bureau inviting you to come celebrate summer in Logan. From nonstop festivals to super close outdoor adventures to the most charming historic downtown and great restaurants, it's all right here. Let's just stop for 1 second. I don't know why everyone who lives in Salt Lake thinks it takes 3 hours to get to Logan, but unless you're dragging a handcart, it will only take you 1 hour and 20 minutes, so just get in your car and get up here. You know we're Utah's heart of the arts. This week, live performances of Matilda the Musical, the professional Olier Repertory Theater's inspiring musical Bright Star, plus they open Sherlock Holmes, the final adventure. Wait, the swashbuckling Broadway hit The Scarlet Pimpernel hits the stage too. Good night! Free concerts every weekday at noon in the Tabernacle and free concerts and movies at the Outdoor Plaza. Mark your calendars for the Cache Valley Cruise-In Classic Car Show 4th of July weekend and a packed schedule of nonstop fun all summer long. ExploreLogan.com. ExploreLogan.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial congenital heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing for a summer sale, starting at $20 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $20 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
KSL News Time is 12:45, and the three things you need to know this hour first.
A woman was killed while trying to cross a busy road in Spanish Fork this morning. I'm KSL News Radio's Randall Chepson.
Second, we're tracking a new brush fire in Spanish Fork this hour that's sending large plumes of smoke into the air. Fire officials say Oak Ridge Drive is being evacuated, but the fire isn't there yet. Third, traffic and weather together, Michelle.
Looking at a little bit delays for drivers headed northbound I-15 to the 6 South off-ramp to go into downtown, and then continued delays southbound I-15 due to construction around Shepherd Lane. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mid-90s are here to stay, maybe even a triple digit. I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 90 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A potential setback for Republicans' massive budget bill. The Senate parliamentarian denying the GOP plan to cap states' ability to collect more federal Medicaid funding through the health care provider taxes, saying it doesn't fall in line with the rules governing the bill. The House already passed the blueprint. GOP House Speaker Mike Johnson.
The Senate is reworking some of those proposals to see how else they might be handled, and we're on a wait-and-see basis over here.
Republicans have a July 4th deadline to pass the measure. The Pentagon released more details on the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, pushing back on a leaked U.S. early intel assessment that those bombs dropped set back Iran's nuclear capabilities just months. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says a CIA assessment shows the damage was severe and the setback is years. In Texas, police are searching Baylor University campus in Waco. Authorities say they were searching for robbery suspects. Shelter-in-place alerts have now been lifted, and the university says there is not a threat to the campus. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against Planned Parenthood in a South Carolina case, blocking Planned Parenthood from participating in the Medicaid program. This could have impacts on the future of Medicaid in other states as well. Joining me now live is Katrina Barker, Senior Director of Communications for the Planned Parenthood Association of Utah. Thanks for being with me today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Katrina, how could this impact Utah?
Yeah, so right now, this does not impact Utah. I just want to make that clear. This case is specific to South Carolina, and so the impact is limited to South Carolina right now. But it does open the door that other states could do similar tactics, and we have kind of a permission from the Supreme Court to block Planned Parenthood from Medicaid.
What types of services would be impacted if you weren't able to participate in this Medicaid program?
Yeah, so it's really important to understand that this is basic family planning services that are under attack. Things like birth control, STI testing and treatment, cancer screenings. This does not apply to abortion services. This is only family planning services that are covered under Medicaid. And the impact is really on patients. This is about people who rely on Medicaid for their health insurance, being able to choose the provider that they want to go to, choose their trusted provider, which in many cases is Planned Parenthood.
So is this something you are concerned about and that you're going to continue to watch?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we really, healthcare is under threat in this country. The Trump administration, they are coming after the healthcare infrastructure across the board. We've already seen cuts to Title X, which is another funding stream that provides care, family planning care. That has been cut from Utah. Medicaid is under threat, not only from a decision like this, but from the budget bill that is currently under consideration in the Senate. and has already passed in the House. And so these are all efforts of trying to defund Planned Parenthood as part of a long-term goal to shut down health centers. And these politicians would honestly, it seems, rather see people go untreated for STIs, get unintentionally pregnant, potentially die of cancer because they didn't get a screening, than for them to get health care at Planned Parenthood, which is a trusted provider for many, many people in this country.
Katrina, appreciate your help. Thank you for being with me.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Katrina Barker, Senior Director of Communications for the Planned Parenthood Association of Utah. Let's get you update on the drive. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Thanks, Maria. We're still seeing delays for drivers southbound I-15. This is going between Burton and Shepherd Lane. It's packed in right now. Not really seeing a cause for that, but again, we have ongoing construction in that area. Northbound I-15 looking at slowdowns as you're approaching the 6 South off-ramp to go into downtown. And then again, just a heads up for drivers down in Utah County. This is off of the main flow of I-15, but we do have a serious auto crash with possible injuries at 2100 North, 1400 West that is in the center of that intersection. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
KSL 7-day forecast. Classic June weather here in Utah. Mostly sunny with a high of 94 this afternoon. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 95. 94, partly cloudy on Saturday. Sunday, 95 and mostly clear. Next week, Monday, partly cloudy, mountain storm possible, 99, southerly breeze. 97, partly cloudy with a mountain storm again on Tuesday. Wednesday, partly cloudy, 96. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We do have a few clouds in downtown Salt Lake City, but still the temperature has reached 90 degrees. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Well, the market's also reaching good highs today with the Dow up more than 300 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:54. Drugs to treat ADHD may have unexpected benefits.
ADHD medications are linked to fewer accidents, injuries, and risky behaviors, as reported in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Some details from this large study out of Sweden: 250,000 people, risk of self-harm as much as 23% lower when people are on ADHD medication. Traffic crashes dropped as much as 29%. The risk of committing a crime fell by up to 27% during medicated periods. This does not prove cause and effect, but it does add to evidence these treatments offer real benefits. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, Nestle is the latest company to ditch dyes. It follows Kraft Heinz and General Mills. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been putting pressure on companies to do so. Southwest Airlines really wants to entice customers, so it's considering airport lounges, more premium seating, and long-haul international flights. CNBC reports the budget airline is in the middle of its biggest changes in 50 years, which include ditching open seating and charging some customers for checked luggage. Cheaper gas is a huge benefit for Costco shoppers, but what about customers with EVs? To make up for it, the store is experimenting with electric vehicle chargers in Florida. If all goes well, they could expand across the U.S. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by nearly 370 points. It sits at 43,349. S&P is up by 44, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 185 points. Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez are just days away from getting married. Their wedding in Venice is drawing some high-profile guests and even some protesters. More from ABC's Maggie Rulli in Venice.
Some of the couple's celebrity friends already spotted in Venice, like Oprah. The celebrations have been ramping up for weeks. Kim Kardashian, Eva Longoria, and Katy Perry among some of the women spotted at Sanchez's Parisian bachelorette.
Security is tight around the city, especially on the island of San Giorgio.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. I hope she's not listening, but I once heard a divisional leader announce in a corporate meeting that she was outraged and would no longer share information with a colleague. She expected us to do everything we could to make that person fail. The media tells us that outrage is an appropriate reaction to the misbehavior of others. Marketers leverage outrage to get you to buy something you don't need. Managers use outrage to get you to do something you shouldn't do. The media uses it to gain a wider audience because they know through experience and research that you're more likely to believe the worst than the best. But outrage triggers the body's stress response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, it can contribute to issues such as anxiety, depression, and high blood pressure, and is contagious. There is never a time when outrage is appropriate. Learn more about how to build collaboration in an MBA program at Utah State. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Michelle Rowe.
A heads up for drivers in Spanish Fork. Just getting word from our coworker Rebecca Cressman that many Spanish Fork residents on the east hillside of Spanish Fork have been asked to evacuate, so you want to watch out for that. And they're closing the Powerhouse Road near Strawberry Water Building to prevent traffic. Now, for drivers on I-15, still running at posted speeds, just some slowdowns through the Shepherd and Burton Lane areas. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off, 10 windows or more, advancedwindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are looking at a high today of 94, 95 tomorrow, staying in the 90s for the next 7 days. Monday seems to be the hottest at 99 degrees, and then a slight chance of showers early next week. Right now, partly cloudy, 90 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
More measles cases in Utah this hour, including 2 pregnant women and a child.
If we've got measles circulating now and school gets in session, that could be the worst case scenario because the contact or all the contacts of kids that are in school, it's very close contact.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, June 26th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we have answers to your questions about the measles vaccine. Also this hour,
we've been able to offer and help homeowners get into homes for a long time.
Incentives from One Utah City to help people become homeowners. But first, our top stories. A 62-year-old woman was killed this morning in Spanish Fork while trying to cross a busy street. City spokesperson Jack Urquhart says that this happened at the corner of Spanish Fork Parkway and SR 51.
They're crosswalks. You should be looking for pedestrians, but it's not a place that if you take that road a lot, you don't see a ton of pedestrians, maybe especially early in the morning.
He says the driver is cooperating with police, and they are looking to see if the rising sun might have been in the driver's eyes. Our top national story from ABC News, the Senate parliamentarian rejected key Medicaid provisions in the big, beautiful bill today. One provision was a Republican plan to cap the state's ability to collect more federal Medicaid funding through health care provider taxes. Speaker Mike Johnson urged the Senate to not make drastic changes to the House-passed bill.
They should keep as close to as possible to the House product because it took us, as you all know, a long time to negotiate this very specific provisions of that. So the more they deviate from it, the more difficult the job becomes to get the bill to the president's desk. And we're trying to do that quickly.
Some Senate Republicans have expressed frustration by her changes, but they won't overrule her. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against Planned Parenthood over a law that blocked the organization from participating in the Medicaid program. More from ABC's Devin Dwyer.
A significant setback for Planned Parenthood, which draws more than a third of its funding nationwide from government contracts, including reimbursements from Medicaid. This was a case that dates back to 2018 when the state of South Carolina excluded Planned Parenthood from their program.
The decision by justices was 6-3. Other national stories KSL is following. Microsoft's blue screen of death error message is going away, but don't worry, there's a replacement.
Microsoft says the widely feared blue screen of death, often seen when Windows computers crash, will itself be passing away. It's part of a larger revamp following last year's CrowdStrike outage. The error message, featuring white text on a blue background, has been around in some form or another for 40 years, since the first Windows release in 1985. Microsoft confirms to The Verge it'll be replaced by a new message in the event of computer trouble, this time on a black background. Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 386 points, nearly a full percent. It sits at 43,368. S&P is up by 47 and the NASDAQ up by 197 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Working on the final clearing stages of this crash in Lehigh, 2100 North, 1400 West. The wrecked vehicles have just pulled away. Now, if you're southbound I-15, reports of a new crash at 114 South and then ongoing construction between Kaysville and Farmington. Every day, your local Salvation Army is here doing the most good for fighting hunger, homelessness, and hardship. Today, Donate today at 160years.org. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine today, headed for a high of 94, 95 tomorrow, and it doesn't go down from there. It goes up to 99 by Monday with a 10% chance of showers on Monday. Right now, partly cloudy, 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
We are continuing to follow breaking news here at KSL News Radio. A brush fire has broken out in Spanish Fork just off Spanish Oaks Drive. This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. FM 100.3's Rebecca Cressman is at the scene. She joins me now live. Rebecca, what are you seeing?
Actually, I'm about 2 blocks from the scene, and the roads that access the Strawberry Water Building, which is just east of the Spanish Fort Golf Course, has been closed for from local traffic. So we were seeing a lot of smoke in the sky. Now there's much less smoke, Maria.
Okay, so is there still a concern, though, for residents in the area?
Well, many of the residents that live on the east side of Spanish Fork, so this would be east of the Spanish Fork Golf Course, just on the bottom of all the mountains that caught fire years and years ago, they were asked to evacuate. So they're between the Spanish Fork Reservoir and Powerhouse Road. But I'm hearing from local neighbors that the evacuation orders are going to be lifted very, very soon, and some of the local roadways will be open. So we're hearing that fire in that Strawberry Water Building area is mostly contained now.
Yeah, things happening very quickly. I mean, you were seeing a lot of smoke, and now you're not seeing quite as much.
That's right. But this is an area of the city that is just at the foot of the mountains. So anytime you have a fire in this area where it could possibly move up into the mountainous areas, it causes obviously a lot of concern. So we're all relieved that the fire seems to be contained just to that local area.
All right, Rebecca, thanks so much for calling and for being with me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Maria.
Rebecca Cressman with our sister station, FM 100.3. Other developing news we are watching, 2 more cases of measles in Utah today, bringing the total number of confirmed infected around the state to 5. Measles spreading in Utah. We have special coverage this afternoon. The news shared this morning from the state epidemiologist, Dr. Leisha Nolan.
We do have 2 additional cases,
So that brings us up to 5 people in Utah who have been identified who are infected with measles. These 2 additional people that we identified recently, happily, are people that we knew were exposed and therefore are within that sort of contact area of the initial people who had been infected. So these 2 people were not unexpected. We knew they had been exposed and were at high risk. What is concerning to us is that we now have a number of people who have more severe disease. We have found that 2 of the people who are infected have had to go to the hospital and stay at least overnight. That is very concerning to us. We certainly want to have as minimal infections as we can here in Utah and as mild. So to know that 2 out of 5 people had to go to the hospital for their measles infections is quite concerning to us. In addition, we also did learn that 2 of these people are pregnant, and that brings up a very high concern because it is not just a risk to the mother, but it is a risk to the baby. We really want to get the message out that if anybody is considering becoming pregnant, that they go and check that they are vaccinated, and if they are not vaccinated, to get the vaccine, because it is a vaccine that can be given before pregnancy but not during pregnancy. And people who are pregnant, if they get measles, they're much more likely to get severe infections, much more likely to go to the hospital. And unfortunately, they're also much more likely to have premature birth or even lose the baby. So we certainly want to encourage people to take precautions to protect themselves and their unborn infants if they are thinking of getting pregnant.
Dr. Nolan saying they expect to see more cases in the coming weeks.
We expect we will see additional cases. We know there were a number of people who were exposed to those initial people who had measles. A lot of them were family members or close contacts. Many of them are not protected by vaccines, so we expect a number of them will also become infected with measles. So we are in close contact with those individuals. We do expect additional infections because of that. We also do believe there are a number of infections in Utah that are undetected, so we think there will be additional people who are identified over the coming weeks.
Dr. Nolan says there's not a significant need for concern among most Utahns since our measles vaccination rates are already so high, but she's worried most for women who are pregnant.
Most Utahns are protected. So for 90% of Utahns, we are protected because we've gotten the vaccine. And so for most of us, there is not a need for significant concern. I do think the people who are unvaccinated, it is a time to start really talking to your doctor, talking and thinking about what the risks are to you and your family. I was just talking to somebody earlier about how stressful it is to be pregnant and how difficult it is to not know what's coming. To get that vaccine can take out one of those stresses for you. And I really would encourage people to consider doing that to protect themselves and also to not have to worry.
After the break, we'll take a closer look at the measles vaccine and what you need to know about it to stay safe. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle?
Looking at a new trouble spot, Maria. This is southbound I-15, about 114th south. A multi-car crash. It is pulled over to the shoulder, but to the right shoulder. But again, southbound I-15 in Sandy, about 114th south. No matter the weather, you can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% 3% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Summer is right around the corner.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck. And she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes. But when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is Midday, vaccination for measles. What do you need to know? If you're pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant, or if you have children, there are a few special things that you need to know about the measles vaccine. I spoke with Rich Lake, an immunization program manager for the Utah Department of Health, to get more details on the vaccines. Rich, with these new cases of measles popping up, I know there are folks who are wondering if it's too late to be vaccinated.
No, it's not too late. I mean, they can always talk to the provider if they have questions about whether or not they should receive the MMR vaccine or not.
For those people who have been on kind of sitting on the fence on this and now maybe they're a little bit more concerned, what would you tell them about the importance of being vaccinated?
Well, I would say the importance is that, this vaccine is really very effective, the MMR vaccine, and that just with one dose, it provides 93%. It's effective, 93%, and then if you have 2 doses, it's 97%, and it's actually just a really good vaccine to prevent measles, mumps, and rubella. So I would highly recommend it if anybody's wondering whether or not they should get it.
You mentioned that folks should speak to their providers about this. Are there some people who should not be vaccinated?
So the MMR vaccine is one of the few vaccines you can't give while you are pregnant. So they need to talk to the doctor and find out what to do if they are pregnant and to not get vaccinated against measles. And then women who are trying to get pregnant, we also recommend that they cannot get the MMR vaccine.
We did have, I believe, at least one woman who was pregnant and does have the measles. What should someone do if they can't get the vaccine right now? What should they do to take extra precautions?
If they can't get it, then they need to be very vigilant about in how they travel, where they travel, and just being aware of where the cases are and where they're occurring, and really kind of stay away from those areas right now.
Is the vaccine most effective in a certain age range, or will it have the same effect for everyone?
I'm aware that it'll have the same effect on everybody. So if you have not received it, let's just take a scenario. So most people have been vaccinated between the years of 1963 and 67 are probably protected, but they also could be considered unvaccinated during those years. So let's just say that if they were not vaccinated and they received just one vaccine, within 2 weeks, they'll have 93% protection.
I'm wondering about those women who are pregnant. Would it be helpful for members of their family, say their children, to be vaccinated? Would that make a difference for them? I mean, how soon does the vaccine take effect?
So the vaccine will take effect within 2 weeks after receiving it. You'll have full immunity. So if you've got a woman who is pregnant or who trying to get pregnant, and you have unvaccinated people in the home, then I would advise that those people that are unvaccinated to receive at least one dose, because then they are not only protecting themselves, but they're protecting a woman who is pregnant who can't get it, and perhaps maybe somebody who is trying to get pregnant.
It's going to be back to school season before we know it here. And you mentioned it takes about 2 weeks for this to take effect. What would you like parents to think about, those who may have been hesitant in vaccinating their children? There's been a lot of misinformation out in the past. What would you tell those folks who have been sitting on the fence, but maybe now are thinking about getting vaccines for their children?
Yeah, so again, I think, we kind of keep pushing this message. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and truly public health professionals want to get the right message out there. Our website that you can go to, CDC website that you can go to, and you can get the correct information if you are on the fence. And this, that the MMR vaccine can cause autism, that is not true. There's been millions of children who have found in studies that have gone through millions of children, they found no link between the MMR vaccine and autism. And the claim that MMR causes autism came from a fraudulent study that was debunked and retracted. And however, that just keeps hanging around. And I don't know why, but the information, the correct information comes from your physician. The correct information comes from the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, and the correct information comes from the Centers for Disease Control.
As a public health professional, how frustrating is it for you to have this misinformation out there, and how challenging does it make it for you to do your job?
Well, it's frustrating because I've been public health for almost 30 years now, and I haven't been in this role. I've been in this role for about 8 years, and I've been in other positions in infectious disease, and we never saw measles cases, and it was to that point where there's measles cases happening in other countries, and yet we would never have it. It's because we had a high uptake of the vaccine, and since we've had a low uptake, this is the consequence. And what the cost of the vaccine costs to get and provide that 93 to 97% efficacy of the vaccine. And now what we do is when we have cases, takes probably, by the time we're done with the number of cases in the state of Utah, it probably costs thousands, maybe not millions of dollars to try to combat this. Those that have been put in the emergency room that had to be hospitalized for a little while, just all the public health efforts into decreasing the risk of the transmission when it's really unnecessary. If people were to get vaccinated, we would just, we wouldn't have any cases like we used to.
What do you recommend for someone who hasn't been vaccinated but thinks they may have been exposed to the disease?
So if they've been exposed, they actually can go to our website and they can fill out a questionnaire. And then that way what we do is then our epidemiologists can review that data and see if they truly are somebody who has been exposed. They can also contact their local health department, or they can contact Utah Department of Health and Human Services to see if there truly are ones that may have been exposed.
Is there any danger for them to just go ahead and get the vaccine? I mean, will it actually help subdue some of the symptoms?
Yeah, they can go ahead and get it. Before they have any symptoms, like they may not even know. So if they just go out and get it, that'd be great, because what would happen is their body would start to build up immunity, and it would protect them. Let's say that they were exposed, then if they had the vaccine and it started to build up immunity, then their symptoms would be less.
Right. Does that hold true as well for others who have been vaccinated? Could they possibly still get the measles?
Yeah, so any vaccine's not 100%. Even the MMR vaccine, which is one of the highest protections that we have, like I mentioned, it's 93% to 97% effective. Well, there's that small percent of people that, even though they've been vaccinated, they can still get it. However, if they do get it, their symptoms are usually very mild as compared to somebody who is unvaccinated.
So some of the folks we've heard actually have been hospitalized with measles. So it's pretty serious.
Yes, it can be very serious. And that's, some people may not have a seriousness as other people, but a lot of people are hospitalized because it's very miserable, and you just, everybody's going to react different to it. But most people that are unvaccinated and get measles are going to be very sick, and they're going to remember it because of how sick they were.
Mm-hmm. How are we doing in the state of Utah when it comes to childhood vaccinations and the MMR vaccine?
We are somewhere around that 90% tile, meaning that 90% of the children have been vaccinated. Now that varies across the state, and so some areas may not be up to 90%, and other areas may be higher than 90%. But for the most part, as an average across the state of Utah, we're hovering around that 90%.
Yeah, I was just wondering how this could impact our school year.
Yeah, if we've got measles circulating now and school gets in session, that could be the worst case scenario, because the contact or the all the contacts of kids that are in school is very close contact, and that could be a worst case scenario. Yes.
Rich, any final thoughts for us?
Just get your MMR vaccine if you're on the fence. Like I had mentioned before, look at that. Look at the credible information that's out there. It comes from your doctors. It comes from us. It comes from CDC, and be careful about the stuff that you see that's on the internet. And so we would really like people to be vaccinated so that we don't have continued cases, and those that can get vaccinated, that they are protected.
Rich, thanks for your time today.
You bet. Thank you.
That is Rich Lakin, Immunization Program Manager for the Utah Department of Health. And make sure you are following KSL News Radio for our continued coverage. Measles in Utah. We will have updates live on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. In other national news, there are several open questions today about how much of Iran's nuclear weapons were actually damaged or destroyed by U.S. strikes over the weekend. The Pentagon says the strikes were even more successful than some believe them to be. A preliminary assessment from one U.S. intelligence agency says that Iran's nuclear program was only a setback a handful of months, while the CIA has assessed that strike severely damaged Iran's nuclear capabilities. Sources have told ABC News that it's too early to fully ascertain how damaging those strikes were. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said to reporters today that the preliminary report was leaked and didn't tell the full story. Hegseth also sparring with Fox News' Pentagon reporter Jennifer Griffin, who used to be a colleague of his.
Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance? Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally what the president says. I'm familiar.
About the ventilation shafts on Saturday night, and in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
The Trump administration as a whole is still standing by its assessments that the 3 sites that were targeted were destroyed. But Iranian officials may have moved uranium and other materials off-site ahead of those strikes. Now, the White House says those meetings have been scheduled no meetings have been scheduled between the U.S. and Iran. And we will continue to follow this very closely. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Housing in Utah, plans from 2 cities to make things more affordable. Celebrating Utah's history with the new state park and KSL traffic. Michelle?
Looking at a new crash, Maria. This is southbound on the West Belt at 900 West. Maria?
Thanks, Michelle. Headed for a high today of 94. We'll check KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, let's get the very latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Supreme Court siding with the state of South Carolina over a law that blocked a Medicaid recipient from suing to use Planned Parenthood using federal funds. ABC's Devin Dwyer has more.
Other states are looking at doing similar things, removing their funding from these clinics out of an animus towards the clinic's provision of abortion services in some places, and that is a big setback, not only for the clinics, but for people, low-income families that go to these clinics for non-abortion care.
A potential setback for Republicans' massive budget bill, the Senate parliamentarian denying the GOP plan to cap states' ability to collect more federal Medicaid funding through health care provider taxes, saying it doesn't fall in line with the rules governing that bill. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth pushing back today on early intel assessments showing U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites set back the country's program by months. Hegseth says a CIA assessment shows it was set back years. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A fire broke out in Spanish Fork this afternoon, causing evacuations near Oak Ridge Drive for a brief time. FM 100.3's Rebecca Cressman was nearby and told us on Midday she saw a lot of smoke.
Well, many of the residents that live on the east side of Spanish Fork, so this would be east of the Spanish Fork Golf Course, just on the bottom of all the mountains that caught fire years and years ago, they were asked to evacuate. So they're between the Spanish Fork Reservoir and Powerhouse Road. But I'm hearing from local neighbors that the evacuation orders are going to be lifted very, very soon.
Spanish Fork Fire says the canal provided a nice hard line against the fire. They also had a helicopter drop water on the area. Firefighters in Cedar Hills provided an update on the fire that broke out last night, saying the fire essentially stayed within the fire lines overnight. We are told investigators think the fire was started by fireworks and it threatened as many as 150 homes at one point. We are already seeing fireworks cause problems. Crews are again calling on people to be careful with fireworks as we approach the 4th of July. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
State law allows you to legally shoot off fireworks from July 2nd to the 5th, but firefighters tell me that doesn't mean it'll necessarily be safe to do so. For one, crews say they're expecting much of July and the rest of summer to be full of red flag warnings, so if it's windy during that legal window, firefighters are asking that you don't light them off, and you still have to check and see if your city has their own restrictions on fireworks.
Officials say if you do shoot off fireworks, have a water bucket nearby and don't light them off if you are drinking. Other local stories KSL is following. Pluralsight is laying off hundreds of people this week in what former employees are calling a strategic restructuring. KSL News Radio's Vril Johansson has more.
Dozens of people took to LinkedIn to post they were back on the job market after being laid off by Pluralsight. Many of the posts mention a company-wide restructuring, though some of the layoffs could be because the company is moving. The Salt Lake Tribune reports Pluralsight is leaving Draper and heading to Texas.
This is the third round of layoffs at Pluralsight in the last 3 years. Major road construction projects are happening this weekend, including a full closure of I-15 in Davis County. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
Most of the construction will affect the transitions from one freeway to another for paving and striping. They include the ramps from I-215 in Midvale to go southbound I-15 and the connector between the West Side Belt and westbound 201 freeway. However, I-15 northbound will be completely shut down at US 89 in Farmington for bridge demolition.
For more information on all your road closures, go to udot.utah.gov. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 373 points, sitting at 43,354. S&P is up by 47, and the NASDAQ is up by 195 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards Credit Card Promotion, and here's Michelle Rowe.
Still looking at some delays for drivers, Maria. Southbound I-15 going from Kaysville headed toward Farmington. This is going to be between 200 North and Park Lane. Also a heads up, still looking at delays over in the Echo area for drivers that are taking I-84 to go eastbound I-80. We still have a semi they're trying to get cleared up. Michelle Rowe in the Kaysville Traffic Center.
High today of 94 degrees, up to 95 tomorrow, but by Monday, 99 and a 10% chance of showers. Right now, partly cloudy, 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM. I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Housing affordability, a topic many cities and counties in Utah are trying to tackle. If you're looking to buy a new home, you might want to check out Ogden. The city of Ogden giving new homeowners up to $10,000 to help towards their purchase of a home. Mayor Ben Nadolski says helping people put down roots in Ogden leads to long-term success for the city. The whole program is being called Own in Ogden.
City Council just approved our most recent budget for the FY26 cycle, and it includes $350,000 for the Own in Ogden program. The Own in Ogden program helps families with down payment assistance it's a really great program that is a creative way to help people with the goal of home ownership. Which provides a lot of local benefits like stabilizing neighborhoods and creating economic opportunities for families. So we're really excited that the council approved this cycle of funding. We hope that money will help up to 50 people in Ogden become new homeowners this year.
Ogden City Communications Director Mike McBride tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson this offering is available to more than just first-time homebuyers.
It's not restricted to first-time homebuyers. The only restrictions on it are that the homes need to be priced. If it's an existing home, it needs to be priced under $479,000, and then if it's a new home, it's a little bit higher than that. But really, families are encouraged to apply. They can come to our community development website and see all the details about how they qualify. But like I mentioned, we hope to help 50 new homeowners this year. We've been doing this for a number of years now, and the impact has been pretty substantial. Over 2,000 households have received assistance through the Own in Ogden program, so we're pretty proud of that lifetime number.
So how might you be able to take advantage of this program?
They can go to ogdencity.com/owninogden, and they can download the PDF form that has a pretty comprehensive checklist of items that they'll need to make sure they cover. They can also verify there if their income threshold meets the requirements. But then from there, they can expect to be on their way within 15 days.
Some people could get up to $20,000 when they apply at ogdencity.com/owninogden. The funding comes from a combination of the city budget and a federal home investment partnership program. Here in the Salt Lake Valley, some cities are moving to allow smaller, more affordable homes to be built. Sandy City Planning Director Mike Wilcox says that the state changed the minimum size for a single-family home a few years ago, and now Sandy is catching up. The minimum square footage would be 1,000 square feet. That's not including detached or attached garages. And he tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez that this change will help more people get into a home.
I think the intent behind the state's changes were to promote affordable housing and at least make sure that city regulations weren't preventing a smaller home from being created in a neighborhood. There's certainly still minimum lot sizes that are established by each different zone district, but with this change, a homeowner or a property owner could develop a smaller scaled home, which could result in a cheaper overall affordable home. The city recently updated our general plan, and we're working on different ways that we can implement affordable housing throughout the city. There'll be some ongoing discussion with the council about how we go about implementing that idea. This is bringing us in line at least with the state minimum regulations regarding home sizes. And so further changes will be coming down the road as we evaluate options that the city has at our disposal to help further and create more affordable housing in Sandy City.
Wilcox says the city is doing a few other things to try and make housing more affordable.
In our general plan, there's lots of different items that were discussed in the general plan that range from creating opportunities within our existing neighborhoods through detached ADUs as one potential example. How we go about doing that and the details of how that would be implemented is still up for discussion with the city council to actually change our ordinance. But the groundwork has been laid through our general plan that our residents showed overwhelming support for incremental increases in the densification of our neighborhoods and allowing for new housing starts in those types of ways without changing the fundamental fabric of their neighborhoods. There are other options that are on the table with the city council that would create new housing opportunities on the edges of their neighborhoods along busy arterial roads that could provide a new type of housing mix. on the edges of neighborhoods as well as within our commercial centers, and allowing for additional housing opportunities in some of our struggling commercial centers that could enliven and reinvigorate those spaces, so that we not only create new housing opportunities, but also create better services to our neighborhoods and create more commercial opportunities.
Wilcox says while the different zones in the city can have different lot size requirements, property owners can build smaller homes on the lots. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
Do you want to make your house more comfortable, more energy efficient, more valuable? Well, maybe it's time you took a look at your doors and windows. And there's nobody around who does doors and windows better than Peach Doors and Windows.
Improve the functionality of your home with custom replacement windows, entry doors, patio doors. Maybe you have a sunroom, or you want a new custom front door and windows to maximize the beauty of your home. Peach offers flexible financing available to fit any budget. They've got expert installation, including fiberglass doors, which are their specialty, and they'll replace your windows with the highest energy efficiency rating.
And customer service is a top priority. It's the reason why they have so many 5-star reviews on Google. You can check it out for yourself. You can also check them out online at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can call for a free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255.
Or see them in person, 2940 South 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Go check out their beautiful showroom. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
UDOT continues to upgrade several intersections along Bangerter Highway, and if you've driven the freeway, you might have noticed that sometimes you go over a street and other times the street goes over the freeway. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly wondered why this is, so she spoke to UDOT's Kyler Sharp to find out why.
Have there been any times when a project has been completed and then you realize, oh my gosh, there was a mistake done, or oops, maybe we should have had the city street go over the freeway instead of the other way around? What happens in that case?
You know, for the Bangerter interchanges that we've done thus far, you know, whether it goes over or under, that's really just an aesthetic thing. It really has no effect on how the road operates, right? So whether it goes under or it goes over, it all functions the same way. It's really just an aesthetic thing. So that's why it's so important that we work closely with the communities, right? Because there's some communities that say, hey, we want an under, or we would like the over, and so we try to take into account what that looks like. And I feel like the only really reason why we wouldn't do an under if a city wanted it is if like there was some extra infrastructure we had to put in, like if there was a high water table, for instance, that would be hard for us to excavate in. So it would be very, very costly to do an under. And I feel like that's probably the only way we wouldn't do the under, just because of how much it would cost to put that in.
After the break, from the highway to a railroad, I'll tell you about Utah's newest incoming state park, honoring Utah's history with trains. But first, it's KSL Traffic, and is brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle?
Looking at some pretty sizable delays, Maria. This is southbound I-15 between 200 North in Kaysville, headed down toward Park Lane. So you're going to want to allow some extra travel time to get through that area. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
A while back, I was talking to some friends, and they were telling me, hey, I'm just overweight, and I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to settle for being overweight. And I'm wondering if that's really what you want to do. Are you willing to just settle? Or if you'd like to take off those pounds, but you've been frustrated at your inability to lose weight, I'll hope you'll take a look at Salt Lake City Fat Loss. This is such a great plan. I've lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. It pretty much resets your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good without strenuous exercise. There's no strenuous exercise involved in losing the weight. It's just a simple combination of foods that help you burn off that stored fat very quickly. And so you stay motivated to keep on the plan. It's an all-natural program, no injections or surgeries, so there's nothing to worry about as far as side effects. And right now, you can save $200. Think about getting fit for summer. You can save $200. Just find out how at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them 801-450-1882. I've lost more than 40 pounds. Many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Go to slcfatloss.com to learn more, slcfatloss.com.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, you can win tickets to Western Stampede. Don't miss the West Jordan Stampede and Rodeo, celebrating 70 years, July 3rd through the 5th. Or win tickets to Barry Manilow, coming to the Maverick Center for the last time on July 14th. Plus, win free tickets to Lagoon or an upcoming Real Salt Lake home match. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. We are getting a look for the first time at what the newest state park will look like. Renderings are being unveiled today of the Golden Spike State Monument Park. The park is being designed to tell the multifaceted story of the railroad workers who laid the rails and the railroad's transformational impact on our country. President of the Golden Spike Foundation, Robin Kramer, describes what's happening today.
So today we are showcasing the renderings of the park that we are going to be building starting late this summer for the Golden Spike Monument, the 43-foot tall sculpture that was completed a year and a half ago, honoring the workers of the Transcontinental Railroad. And so we have 8 acres of ground, up here on Forest Street in Brigham City. And the interesting thing about this, too, with our landscape architects, they have designed the park to very much tell the story of the Transcontinental Railroad worker groups. In other words, we have a trail from west to east that depicts the Central Pacific Railroad, and a trail looping around from east to west that would depict the Union Pacific Railroad. Coming together, they culminate on a plaza that the spike is in the middle of. So there are two walkways that meet together at the spike, depicting the trains meeting at the site where the Golden Spike was driven. Another interesting thing about this property is that it has a portion of the original 1869 Transcontinental Railroad going through it.
To make sure that there's not confusion, how does this go along with the original site of the driving of the Golden Spike that people have visited for years? Does it amplify it, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So we are right off the freeway, and this park tells the story of the workers, and we're hoping that it's basically a giant billboard to get people out to the Golden Spike National Historical. It's about 35 miles away from here, and so we're hoping that people can, stop here. And, this is kind of where the story starts, if you will, and then the culmination would be out at the national park. So definitely we want to drive people out there to see where it actually happened and, see the trains when they come in and such. So, yes, we're very much partners with them.
One really nice thing, well, there are a lot of nice things about the renderings of the new park that I've taken a look at this morning, but the amphitheater and the pavilions to really shade people from the sun, because anyone who has been out to that site knows just how hot and sunny it is.
Yes, indeed so. And everything on site has not just a comfort purpose, but for instance, the pavilion, the picnic pavilion, it is mimicking what you would have seen coming through the Sierra Nevadas. They built snow sheds to protect the rail from avalanche, so to protect the trains and the rail from avalanche. And so our picnic pavilion, it kind of mimics that shape. The bridge that we have on site mimics what you would have seen on the Transcontinental Railroad grade as a trestle bridge. This one has rails for safety reasons, of course, but so it would mimic that. And then at the very far west end of the park, there is a Lincoln bust that was sculpted by Daniel Fairbanks. And the reason for that is because the Transcontinental Railroad was made possible in 1862 when President Lincoln signed the Pacific Rail Act. So it's a very representative storytelling park, culminating at the spike that depicts the railroad worker groups, the impact of the environment, the innovative technology of the day. So it's pretty spectacular. It's been a long time coming, and we're so excited that we get to start moving here in a few months.
Describe for us why it is important to remember this time in history and its impact.
So this was the first large-scale construction project of its kind in the United States, and it was done entirely without machines. You had horses and wagons and, and manpower. And so people came literally from all over. In Ireland, there was the potato famine, and China, there was the Civil War. And so people were looking to escape, and come for a better opportunity. And so they came and worked on the Transcontinental Railroad. So it is a fabulous story of people just coming together to create and accomplish great things. And I have to say the tie-in with what we are doing in today's world for the Golden Spike Foundation is very similar. In other words, the state has designated it as a state monument, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know about how wonderful and supportive and enthusiastic this community is. And this community has really come together big time to rally around this project. and make it happen with support, with donations. And so the stories are very parallel. And so, just the story of let's come together, make things happen. And at the time, the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, it literally changed everything. So not only how we move goods and how we do business and commerce, but how we communicate and how we pleasure travel. And so it really opened the door for, to change pretty much everything. And it happened here, and it's history that we recognize and celebrate and want to honor and continue to tell the story. And we keep calling this park the 100-year park. We're building a park that's worthy of the story, that can bear the weight of the story, and tell it well.
You also mentioned that people can learn about the environmental impact. That's not something that I've thought much about when I've been out there to the historic site.
It was very impactful in not a necessarily positive way for the Native Americans living on this ground. And so we don't shy away from that. We do talk about and depict the impact it had on their lives and the buffalo, and how, kind of their whole existence sort of centered around the buffalo, from clothing and housing to food. And this did a really good job of eradicating the buffalo, essentially. And so we don't shy away from that story. We do tell the story. And there will be interpretive signage on the park as well that talks about all the elements of the park and the why these elements are there, and what they mean and how they all complete the story.
And we should all be able to visit by the end of next summer.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Measles continues to spread in Utah. 5 people now affected.
What is concerning to us is that we now have a number of people who have more severe disease. We have found that 2 of the people who are infected have had to go to the hospital and stay at least overnight.
The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll chat with KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera about the update from health officials. Also this hour,
an appreciation for our Pacific Islander culture and heritage.
I'll tell you about a new exhibit celebrating the art, history, and culture of the Pacific Islander community. But first, our top stories. 2 new measles cases have been reported in Utah, bringing the total to 5. Among them are a child and 2 pregnant women. Health officials are encouraging Utahns to get vaccinated for the disease, no matter your age. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
It will be just as effective for an older adult as it is for a baby. Utah Department of Health Immunization Director Rich Lakin says someone can even get it if they think they may have been exposed to it. Kind of like the COVID-19 vaccine, it would subdue symptoms and make it a little easier to deal with. But also like the COVID vaccine, it's not a 100% guarantee someone won't contract it.
He says if someone can't get the vaccine, that they need to be careful when traveling and actively avoid areas with confirmed cases. We are hearing about a house fire at 110 West, 5965 South in Murray. Officials say the owners were able to self-evacuate and are safe. They say 2 cats and a dog are right now in critical condition. Our top national story from ABC News. There's still an open question as to how much of Iran's nuclear materials were damaged in the recent U.S. strikes. There are also questions about whether Iran would enter into more diplomatic discussions. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
The White House says there are no meetings scheduled right now between the U.S. and Iran, despite President Trump saying Wednesday that would take place next week. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration is focused on diplomacy and getting to a point where Iran agrees to a non-enrichment civil nuclear program.
Right now, we're on a diplomatic path with Iran. The president and his team, namely Special Envoy Witkoff, continue to be in communication with the Iranians and especially our Gulf and Arab partners in the region.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Other national stories KSL is following. The family of a 32-year-old woman in Los Angeles who was arrested by ICE agents this week says she is a U.S. citizen who didn't do anything to warrant her arrest.
Andrea Velez had just been dropped off by her family for work on Tuesday morning when caught on video. Velez
Velez is seen being arrested by federal agents. With her U.S. passport in hand, her family says she is a U.S. citizen. For 24 hours, her attorneys could not find her, and when they did, the federal government wouldn't tell them what she was being held for. Velez's attorney.
Just to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you have the full weight of the federal government against you.
Her attorneys argue she was arrested simply for looking Latino. She remains in custody. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Dow ending the day up 404 points. It ended at 43,386. S&P 500 up by 48. The NASDAQ up by 194 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle?
Still the biggest travel spot I'm seeing right now, Maria, is southbound I-15 due to ongoing construction between 200 North and Kaysville, headed toward Park Lane. I-15 in the heart of the valley running smoothly. Utah County also in good shape. A little bit of slowing on Pioneer Crossing. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Let's fix that. Water one day less each week. Michelle Rowe in the Kaysville Traffic Center.
Our high temperatures staying in the mid-90s for the next week, up to 99 on Monday, and on Monday, just a slight chance of showers. 91 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Dive into 2025's best family fun at the Ute Stampede Rodeo with Extreme Bulls. The Ute Stampede is Utah's best family entertainment, honoring the rich heritage and the spirit of the West. 3 nights of PRCA rodeo, Flying U rodeo, live music, food carnivals, and plenty of rodeo showmanship. Experience gold medal competition topped off with huge prize money. Witness epic battles of man versus beast. Wednesday, July 9th with Extreme Bulls. Special package pricing available. Visit utestampederodeo.com.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings. Stunning results only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
2 new cases of measles in Utah report today, including a pregnant woman and a child. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The state announced the cases in a news conference today. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there, and he joins me now live in the studio with the latest. So, Eric, what do we know about these cases in Utah right now?
All right, so it was Dr. Alicia Nolan who was speaking today, our state epidemiologist, and she did say the good news, right, is that, first of all, Utahns are mostly protected already, right? 90% of people in Utah, she says, have had their MMR vaccine, which is what she says is known to be very effective. But she is deeply concerned about the 10% who haven't gotten the shot because every single one of the 5 people who've been diagnosed so far were unvaccinated. And, you know, clearly that's a pattern. And she says while we're not in full outbreak territory yet, the virus is spreading within small groups of people who aren't protected. And that's kind of how measles gains ground.
Right. So she says if you've had the vaccine and some 90% of us have had it, we don't have to worry about it?
Well, you know, she said nothing in medicine is ever 100% guarantee. However, Dr. Nolan did say the MMR vaccine does exactly what it's supposed to do, which it drastically lowers your chance of getting infected. And if you do end up catching measles, the symptoms are much milder than if you didn't.
Okay, so 2 of the people who have gotten the measles are pregnant. So what kind of risks are there for them?
Yeah, so this is where the tone really shifted, right, during the press conference. Dr. Nolan said measles and pregnancy is a very dangerous mix. There's a high risk of miscarriage, premature labor, or giving birth to a baby with serious health problems. And the scary part is that you can't even get the MMR vaccine once you're pregnant. So if you're even thinking about having a baby soon, her advice is to check your vaccination status now, and because the vaccine not only protects you, it gives your baby a better shot at a healthy start.
Yeah, measles can be a little bit tough to identify because at first it kind of it presents like as a cold at first.
That's right. So, it can sneak up on you. Dr. Nolan says that's part of what makes it dangerous, right? So in the early stages, it looks and feels a lot like a bad cold. We're talking high fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes. But one of the hallmark signs that sets measles apart is a distinctive rash. And it usually starts at the hairline or forehead and then spreads down your body. And that rash, combined with a fever above 102 degrees, is a big red flag.
So what are you supposed to do if you get the measles?
So if you think you have it, she did mention do not just go into your doctor's office or go to the ER, right? That's the fastest way to accidentally expose a waiting room full of kids, babies, people who may already be vulnerable. She says the first step is to call ahead, let the clinic know your symptoms and that you think you might have measles, and then they'll give you instructions on how to safely get tested and treated without putting others at risk.
Okay, still a handful of cases. So have any of these cases exposed people in public places?
So I asked Dr. Nolan that directly. Right now, she says they've only identified 2 exposure sites. Both were doctors' offices tied to the earlier cases that we reported on and publicly announced last week. And so far, there's nothing like grocery store, schools, or other high-traffic places that have been flagged.
One of the cases, a child. Why is that worrisome?
So Dr. Nolan did say kids, especially young ones, are more likely to have serious complications from measles. Their immune systems are still developing, and that makes them more vulnerable. And the child in this case did have to be hospitalized along with another patient, but she told us that all 5 people who were diagnosed, including the minor, have now been released and are recovering.
Okay. Does she expect more cases now?
For sure, yeah. She said yes, because several of the people who've tested positive are from families where others are also unvaccinated, and those close contact situations are where measles spreads the fastest.
Okay, so does she have any advice, any final advice for people who might have the measles?
Yeah, so she did mention that, don't try to ride it out alone. It's not like a cold, those kind of things where we think we could just be home and take some Theraflu or whatever and get better. She said things can escalate fast, especially in people who aren't vaccinated. So she says symptoms can go from fever and rash to serious respiratory problems, and even in some cases, encephalitis, which is like a brain infection. So she said if you think you've been exposed or showing symptoms, once again, don't wait. Call your doctor and get help.
All right. Thanks, Eric, for bringing us the latest.
You got it.
Midday will continue in just 1 minute.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
The CDC's new vaccine advisory panel meeting for a second day. Today, the panel voted in favor of RSV shots for newborns. Members are also voting on whether to remove a certain preservative in flu shots, even though it's only included in 4% of the shots. ABC's Phil Lipoff tells us why that preservative is so controversial.
It's called thimerosal. It's only in 4%, but it has been inaccurately connected to autism. And this is what RFK has been talking about for a long time. There have been claims that this causes autism. That's been debunked. There is one woman who is part of HHS now. RFK put her in there. Lynn Redwood, I believe is her name. She'll be presenting her findings at the meeting about thimerosal.
There is worry now among medical professionals, thanks in part to a brand new panel of vaccine advisors at the CDC. You'll recall the Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., recently dismissed all of the members of the panel and replaced them with his own selections. The newly established committee met for the first time yesterday. ABC's Sunny Salzman reports with Start Here host Stephen Portnoy.
The middle of the 20th century was a time of rapid development of vaccines.
A major medical hurdle was crossed with the discovery by Dr. Jonas Salk of the anti-polio vaccine.
On the heels of the groundbreaking polio vaccine in the 1950s, there was a flurry of new immunizations for measles, mumps, and rubella, and amidst that, a panel of medical experts was stood up to guide the federal government's recommendations to the public. Over the last several decades, that panel, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, has helped shape the CDC's vaccine recommendations. Doctors, insurance companies, and medical groups have all looked to their guidance as a gold standard.
The people who were in charge of that are now gone.
Earlier this month, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sparked outrage within the medical community when he dismissed all 17 members of the panel.
This has been a long time coming.
Kennedy, who has a history of vaccine skepticism, named 8 replacements, including several who share similar skepticism to various shots.
Not anti-vaxxers. We're bringing people on who are credentialed scientists, who are highly credentialed physicians.
As doctors have raised concerns that Kennedy is upending America's immunization practices and even threatening public health, RFK Jr. has insisted he is not anti-vaccine, but rather pro-safety.
And I'm pleased to call today's ACIP meeting to order.
Well, the newly established committee kicked off its first meeting since its overhaul yesterday. It's the start of a 2-day session, and it was very widely watched. So let's turn to ABC's Sony Saltzman from our medical unit. Sony, what's happened so far at this meeting?
Well, Stephen, so far at this meeting, a lot has happened, but at the same time, not much has happened. And let me explain. So the new committee, they kicked off by really setting the stage and raising some of these vaccine skeptical talking points or anti-vax talking points that we've heard blossoming over the past few decades, including things like are children getting too many doses too quickly together? And there was a wide-ranging conversation about COVID vaccines.
Rebuilding public trust through sound science is very important. For example, the inflated promises about the COVID vaccines preventing transmission and disease.
And additionally, there was a conversation about RSV vaccines, a range of questions for which we do have studies and evidence, and reassuring studies and evidence. But this committee made clear from the opening remarks its intention to really explore some of those questions again.
Vaccines are not all good or bad. If you think that all vaccines are safe and effective and want them all, or if you think that all vaccines are dangerous and don't want any of them, then you don't have much use for us.
Some of the members in the past have testified against vaccines, for example, the HPV vaccine. Others during the COVID pandemic raised concerns about the safety of the COVID-19 vaccine. So they're all coming with different viewpoints, and many of those viewpoints controversial and not aligned with mainstream science.
The committee is set to discuss several other vaccinations during their meeting today, primarily on shots newborns and young children receive, like the measles vaccine.
One of the most common injections that young children are given is for measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox. That's also on the agenda?
That's right. This is on the agenda. There's no vote, but I think hearing the committee members will be really informative in terms of their feelings about this. And this is one shot for those 4 illnesses, right? There is some discussion about whether, it could be broken up or if it's too much altogether. Now, again, studies show that this vaccine safe and effective. Every vaccine has risks, Stephen, right? And we do see those rare adverse events. We do see some more common, more milder, symptoms after you get a shot, right? So those are monitored and we understand them well, but the efficacy, particularly of that measles vaccine, is just extraordinary. It's called one of the greatest public health successes because it really is so highly effective in the upper 90% in terms of preventing measles. So this will be something that is being closely watched because, as you know, we are in the midst of a major measles outbreak right now in Texas and elsewhere in the country, and we're on the cusp of breaking some records here.
Now, I can imagine that the reaction from the medical community, the establishment, has been rather strong about what's going on in Atlanta.
That is absolutely true. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which represents pediatricians in this country, they came out with a really strong statement saying that this whole process has effectively been corrupted and reminding Americans that no matter what happens with these recommendations for these vaccines, the American Academy of Pediatrics is going to continue, as they have for decades, to put out their own evidence-based recommendations. And then in addition to that, we saw yesterday, at the same time that this meeting was taking place, there was a protest outside by current and former CDC members.
It's unfortunate that people don't understand how much good the vaccines have done over so many years.
Holding signs and in some cases dressed as viruses. It was intended to be a demonstration of the power of vaccines that can prevent illness from these types of viruses.
All right, ABC's Sony Salzman, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
What should we expect to see after this two-day meeting? Here's ABC's Phil Lipoff.
They're going to put out their recommendations, but also the other groups of pediatric scientists who put out their recommendations every year say they are going to continue to put out their recommendations no matter what this board of scientists say, because there's been such criticism about where they're coming from when they look at these issues.
We will continue to track both the measles outbreak here in Utah and around the country and the recommendations made by the CDC's vaccination panel. You can stay up to date by visiting our website for the latest updates at kslnewsradio.com. A new clinic to help Utahns with MS. More on that in just a few minutes. But first, KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle?
Our very own KSL traffic reporter Steve-O giving us a heads up. We have a fresh crash eastbound 3300 south, 500 west just before I-15. But the bigger problem right now is still southbound I-15 between Kaysville and Farmington. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. Honey!
What?
Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
We're following breaking news at KSL. I'm Maria Shilaos on Midday. President Trump is speaking right now as he continues to push for the Senate to pass his massive tax and immigration package known as the One Big Beautiful Bill. Let's listen into what he has to say.
So much for not winnable. Mike Lee is here. Mike, hi, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Tim Sheehy, another tremendous win. Way to go, Tim.
Obviously,
Young,
the president's
handsome.
still introducing folks.
That was another race that wasn't supposed to be able to be won. They said, well, we have a very young, handsome guy. I said, does that matter? Looks don't matter, do they, Mike? Looks. Anyway, great job. You can't help it. You can't help it. Great. That was a great race, along with Representatives Paul Gosar, Greg Murphy, Tom Kaine, Jen Kiggins, Rob Bresnahan, who's a where is Rob? Stand up, Rob. Let me see you. Good. He's done
the president surrounding himself with his supporters as he holds this big, beautiful bill event at the White House.
People, we're here this afternoon to share the stories of an incredible group of patriots from across the nation whose future we are defending with the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is the ultimate codification of our agenda to, very simply, a phrase that's been used pretty well by me over the last 10 years, but maybe even before that, make America great again. Very simple, make America great again. When Joe Biden used to get up and say, we will stop this horrible MAGA, we're going to stop MAGA, we're going to fight it, I said, Joe, loosen up. It's called Make America Great Again. It's okay. Remember that he got up so angry. He was so angry. He said, make America great again. But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border. You know, last month, we had 0 people that crossed the border. 0. So Christie and Tom Homan and some of the people, what a job you've done. But, you know, people forget about that. They don't care. The border's been fixed. I wanted to talk about the border 2 days ago at a big group. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. Why? It's fixed. You know, it's the second time it happened to me. In 2016, I won on the border. I fixed it in about 3 months. It was beautiful. And they wouldn't let me talk about the border. Sir, nobody wants to hear about the border. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Right, Tom Homan? We're talking about it anyway. So we have a big number of dollars that's coming here because we want to keep it that way, and we want to keep it fixed, and a record number of deportations. We're bringing criminals out by the thousands. Nobody can even imagine. They let people in that were murderers, 11,888 murderers, gang members, people from mental institutions and insane asylum. You know what that is? That's insane asylum. That's a mental institution on steroids. During the campaign, I talk about the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is, Hannibal Lecter? Silence of the Lambs, I'd talk about it and the fake news would go crazy. Why does he keep
The president
mentioning,
has gathered a big group to talk about his big, beautiful bill, talking about the border again and his domestic policy. We will continue to listen in and bring you the very latest. In local news, a new clinic opens today in Lehigh, providing care for people with multiple sclerosis, also known as MS. The new Rocky Mountain MS clinic will offer comprehensive care along with state-of-the-art equipment and even a clinical research center. MS specialist Dr. Yashma Patel will be leading that clinic, and she tells KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson that the center is especially important since Utahns have more than double the average number of MS cases.
Yeah, it seems like Utah actually has quite the prevalence of MS. It's about 2.5 times higher than the rest of the country. And there's no other MS specialist except for in the Salt Lake City area. So I think the need is definitely there. Patients look for a comprehensive center, and that's what we're hoping to provide for them.
Why is this? Well, Dr. Patel says it's hard to narrow down because we don't know the exact cause of MS.
The thinking is that the population here, being predominantly Caucasian, Northern European descent and stuff, has a big part to do with it. Other things locally, I'm not sure about.
Dr. Patel says the clinic will be especially helpful for a few reasons.
One, they don't have to travel to Salt Lake City, which would be nice. And just to have one facility where they can see the provider, get an infusion if that's what their treatment is, be a part of clinical research if that's what they choose, and just have access to the most cutting-edge care possible. And it's a very patient-centered approach that Rocky Mountain MS Clinic uses. So the plan is to do the same here, but in Lehigh.
And again, the clinic has their grand opening tonight, beginning at 5 o'clock. And again, we have double the number of cases than other parts of the country of MS. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Nuclear energy continuing to create buzz around the state and the country. The message from first responders, not to get burned by fireworks. And KSL traffic, Michelle.
Maria, looking pretty quiet out there. Southbound I-15, I should say, still has some slowdowns between Kaysville and Farmington. Otherwise, looking good. Maria?
Thanks, Michelle. Headed for a high today of 95 degrees. Not a chance of rain until Monday. We'll check KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. But first, the president still speaking on his big, beautiful bill. The latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franz, and the White House continues to push back on early intel assessment that U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities set back the program by months. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Iran's claims that they removed uranium before the strikes is also wrong.
We were watching closely, and there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a briefing says a CIA assessment shows severe damage and the setback of years. Today, Senate lawmakers received a classified briefing, with some Democrats saying they need more information about the uranium. A CDC vaccine advisory panel recommending a new RSV antibody shot for newborns, this one made by Merck, and the panel also voted to remove a preservative found in about 4% of flu shots. Severe heat still blanketing parts of the South, but the Northeast is finally getting a break after days of triple-digit temperatures. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, 4,000 doctors, including many from Utah, have signed on to a letter urging Congress not to make cuts to Medicaid. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports.
The executive director of the Utah Health Policy Project says the proposed cuts to Medicaid in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill will negatively impact tens of thousands of people in Utah.
Around substance use, around criminal justice recidivism,
And Medicaid really has been the answer for things like that.
Matt Sloniker says the requirement for recipients to work would mean tens of thousands of people would be dropped from the Medicaid rolls in Utah. He says the cuts would hit rural Utah the hardest and could mean the closure of up to 3 hospitals in rural areas. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. A woman was killed after being hit by a car in Spanish Fork this morning. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
This happened at the corner of Spanish Fork Parkway and SR 51. City spokesperson Jack Urquhart tells me it's a very busy intersection, especially during the 7 a.m. hour.
The SR 51 is a connector between Spanish Fork and Springville, so a lot of commuters heading to work either way.
There is a crosswalk there, and the driver was making a left turn when the woman was hit. Police are trying to determine if the rising sun played any factor. The 62-year-old woman was rushed to Utah Valley Hospital. She was in critical condition and later passed away. Police say the driver is cooperating with the investigation, and Urquhart says he's asking all of us to be on the lookout for people crossing the street. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
A brush fire that broke out this afternoon in Spanish Fork has been contained. Spanish Fork Fire says it started around noon, causing brief evacuations for people on Oak Ridge Drive. Those have since been lifted. Fire crews responded quickly and were able to put it out after it burned 3/4 of an acre. And officials believe it was human-caused, but it's still under investigation. Tonight is night 2 of the NBA draft. For their number 5 draft pick last night, KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen told me on Midday the Utah Jazz got their hands on a young star in Ace Bailey from Rutgers.
This is a player that some people had as high as the second best player in this draft. Most people had him as the third best player, and you got him at number 5. That was a really nice move for them to be able to get that kind of value with that pick. And I think that he's going to have a good attitude about it. And he's a young kid. By all accounts, he's a great kid. And he's an excellent basketball player. He has star potential.
A good first night, but Jensen says the odds are pretty slim that they get another star with their 53rd pick in the draft tonight. Taking a look at your money at this moment. At the close today, the Dow up 404 points, ending at 43,386. S&P up by 49 points, and the NASDAQ up by 194 points, nearly a full percent. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Looking at some northbound delays, I-15. This is just north of the South Interchange, approaching 5300 South, and again approaching 600 South, entering into downtown. For drivers on the southbound side, that's still the bigger delay. This is due to ongoing construction, slowing you down once again between 200 North in Kaysville and Park Lane. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Toasty day. Glad we have air conditioning. A high today of 94. We are almost there. 95 tomorrow. Staying in the 90s for the next 7 days. Next chance of rain on Monday, and it's only a slight chance on Monday. Mostly cloudy, 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The wait is almost over.
After 2 years of renovation, the perfect downtown lunch spot is now almost open. The Garden Restaurant opens on June 30th. The Garden Restaurant offers a beautifully designed space and deliciously fresh menu. It's close to everything downtown next to the Temple Square block. If you need something quick and on the go, or to meet a client, friend, or place to relax, the Garden Restaurant offers healthy options like handcrafted sandwiches, soups, unique salads, plus traditional favorites like homemade pot pies and the famous Lion House rolls. The Garden's new look and tasty menu offers something for everyone, featuring dine-in, patio seating, lobby seating, and grab-and-go or quick online ordering. Visit the Garden today. Reimagine space with remarkable taste. Easy street access on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. Open weekdays 11 to 3. Check out the menu at thegardenslc.com. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant, opening next week, June 30th. See you there.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Nuclear energy, a topic that's created a lot of buzz, not only here in Utah, but nationwide. This isn't the first time the U.S. has tried to expand nuclear energy. We tried it a lot in the mid-1900s. One nuclear disaster occurred in 1979 at the 3 Mile Island nuclear facility in Pennsylvania. Well, now the owner of the last remaining reactor there is getting ready to reactivate it. That story from ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
You've probably heard of Chernobyl and Fukushima. Those nuclear power plant disasters in Ukraine and Japan are known by their single-word names. But you might not know the story behind the three-word name of the worst nuclear incident to ever happen in the U.S. It occurred in Pennsylvania 46 years ago.
It was an accident at the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant, which is located on an island in the Susquehanna River, 10 miles from Harrisburg.
It was late March 1979. The plant, which had pretty much just come online, saw its cooling system malfunction.
I heard a very loud noise that sounded like a huge release of steam.
The Unit 2 reactor at 3 Mile Island partially melted down, and trace amounts of radioactive material escaped in a plume that floated into the nearby community.
Please stay inside with your doors and windows closed.
Pregnant women and small children living within 5 miles of the plant were ordered to leave. Many more left on their own.
Many nearly deserted towns nearest the plant declared curfews last night to prevent looting of empty homes and possessions of thousands of people who have already moved away.
The takeaway for a lot of people?
We got to close all those nuclear power plants down.
In the spring of 1979, a huge rally was held in front of the U.S. Capitol, urging an end to nuclear power, all sparked by what happened at 3 Mile Island. The cleanup from the partial meltdown took more than a decade, and the full decommissioning isn't expected to be completed until the 2050s. The Unit 2 reactor was never operated again, of course. But Unit 1 continued powering homes and businesses in Pennsylvania until it was shut down in 2019. Its owner determined that 3 Mile Island could no longer be run at a profit. Well, there was a big announcement at the plant yesterday.
It feels so good to be back!
Yes, 3 Mile Island is coming back online in as little as 2 years. And the reason? It's in the cloud. You see, data centers require a ton of electricity, especially ones devoted to artificial intelligence. The U.S. Department of Energy reported late last year that by 2028, data centers will consume as much as 12% of all of the electricity produced in the U.S. To meet that growing demand, particularly for Microsoft's AI facilities in the region, the power company is turning the shuttered Pennsylvania nuke plant back on.
Folks shouldn't sleep on nuclear. They should be aware of the important clean role it plays in our energy portfolio.
Oh, and the plan is for that reactor to power nothing but Microsoft's data centers. There is still concern expressed by local activist Eric Epstein to our ABC Harrisburg affiliate, WHTM.
This is not good. Anytime you rush nuclear, bad things happen. There's 700 metric tons of high-level waste at the site right now. And when are we going to be adults and clean up the waste we generated 50 years ago?
Proponents say at least the energy is clean, that is, no carbon emissions from nuclear energy, and it means jobs at a plant that had been shuttered for years.
So what does that have to do with nuclear energy here in Utah? The state is proposing building several small nuclear reactors to help with our energy grid. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp spoke with Chris Hayter, the COO of High Tech Industries and a nuclear energy specialist, to find out how the 3 Mile Island situation is so different from what Utah would like to do.
First, it's clearly we are decades out from that technology that was in use at the time, and even that generation of reactor has been modified, upgraded, and brought up to current standard. Right, the NRC wouldn't allow it or even consider bringing it back online if it wasn't safe to operate, and frankly, it's clearly not the plant that, the unit that experienced the issue that we all recognize as a tragedy in many ways. Not that it was the cost of life, but it was the cost of creating such fear in the general public. Was there immense damage to the community, to the psyche? Sure. But as far as what was released from the plant, it was not a proud moment in our history, but certainly we used it, as we always have, with the guidance of the NRC, with our internal organizations to regulate ourselves, and we grew from that moment. So this unit and how it differs is in some ways, yes, we're boiling water. Okay, we're creating a reaction, heating up water, and we're spinning a turbine and creating electricity. You can do that in many ways, right? So these new reactors, the benefit that we have, and I'll speak to the ones I believe will make it to market first, which I call the generation 3.5 reactors, which are going to use the same fuel that we currently use in our supply chain. And then I can go on to talk the generation 4 stuff, which is incredible in its own right. But what we're talking about bringing to Utah, and we're talking about bringing and building across the world, in the United States, of course, is these are vastly superior, and oftentimes what we'll call them is walk-away safe. And obviously no one's walking away from them, but the idea is in concept that there are systems in air prevention built into these reactors with so much redundancy that you don't need a human operator to shut the plant down. And you go to 3 Mile Island and those plants, we were still creating, we were still pushing through and figuring things out, right? And I know but in every industry and there's going to be improvements, there's going to be incremental upgrades, there's going to be growth. And we go back, so many decades, and clearly we were still in the process, and it was a pretty young industry. And you look at what we've accomplished now, you look at how much money and time and effort has been spent into creating what we think can become close to perfected units, and not even think, but proving out through a very immense regulatory process. Try to bring a new drug on the market, to fight diabetes. You're going to go through a big process and spend hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. The same, and if not more, is going to be put in our way, and naturally and rightfully so that we are proving out to incredibly challenging regulatory bodies to bring these amazing technologies to Utah.
That is Chris Hayter of High Tech Industries. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes. But when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Fire officials believe it was started by fireworks, and now crews are again calling on people to be careful with fireworks over the 4th of July. You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. I'm talking about a fire that is mostly under control today after breaking out near homes in Cedar Hills last night. Again, fire officials believe it was started by fireworks. Salt Lake City Fire Captain Brent Handcuff says they've already responded to a number of wildfires in the Salt Lake Valley and Salt Lake City this year. And now that fireworks are on sale, they want people to make sure that those don't contribute to the danger.
It's an active fire season. Early on, it started off quick. We continue to see fires pop up throughout the state and throughout Salt Lake Valley. We've responded to a number of them already within Salt Lake City, and I know our neighboring departments have as well. So as we discuss fireworks safety today, we're also discussing using those fireworks responsibly and make sure that you follow the rules. Check with the city that you live in where you will be lighting those fireworks to make sure that you are aware of the restrictions. Salt Lake City has a number of restrictions of where you can and cannot light fireworks. And we ask if it's windy, even if you're in an area where you can light them, if it's windy that day, please do not light them.
Jeremiah LaFranca is the executive director of the Greater Salt Lake chapter of the American Red Cross, and he tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that personal and physical safety is also something important to think about when using fireworks.
So far this year, to give you an example, we responded to 75 home fires, and we've assisted 300 people in those situations. During the summer season, that dramatically increases to the point where we look for additional volunteers to help with that response. So we see a lot of accidents happening with fireworks, people lighting them off, not even during the holidays. We see injuries going into the emergency rooms. Technically speaking, nationwide, we see about 10,000 firework-related injuries on an annual basis. So really just people not paying attention to what they're doing. They're just looking to have some fun, but sometimes they get a little overzealous and then accidents happen, right?
Fireworks are on sale now, but cannot legally be lit until July 2nd. Celebrating Pacific Islander heritage and culture, I'll tell you about a new art exhibit in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Michelle?
Traffic filling in more, Maria. Southbound I-15, we're seeing delays up north. This is in the Riverdale area, Kaysville into Farmington, and then again at the South Interchange. Northbound traffic also slow in the Murray area, and again as you're approaching 6 South off-ramp going into downtown. Celebrate freedom in Paris, Idaho. 4th of July Chuck Wagon breakfast and parade. On the 5th, a 5K run, junior rodeo, craft vendor fair, and free concert. Visit bearlake.org for more details. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. A new art exhibit at Salt Lake Community College is allowing high school students in the Pacific Islander community to express their cultural identity. Jilana Aloy is the coordinator for the Roots of Resilience art exhibit, and she tells me the exhibit is a first of a kind, and it gives young people a powerful platform to tell their stories and express their struggles.
It's part of the annual Who Got Roots initiative. Who Got Roots is a threefold competition that's held every year. It's a music competition, dance, and art competition that happens every year where youth, and not just Pacific Islander youth, but it's open to anyone at the high schools who would like to participate. They celebrate, cultural heritage and school pride. So this is the very first year that we're able to sort of conclude or tie up the art competition with a professional art exhibit in a professional formal setting. So it's very cool and exciting, taking place at the South City campus of Salt Lake Community College. Tonight, June 26th, is the opening reception, and the art will be exhibited for 6 weeks, so it'll run all the way through August 8th in the Edna Brunswick Taylor Foyer, which houses the state-of-the-art curved LED wall there at the South City campus.
Describe what this means to these young artists.
I believe this art exhibit, it's important because it gives the youth a voice. They're often underrepresented in mainstream narratives. And so for many of our Pacific Islander students, resilience is not just a theme, but it's a lived reality, right? They navigate all sorts of things. I think in popular Western terms, it would be described as, cultural displacement, systemic inequities, pressures of assimilation. Those types of things are real issues that our youth are facing, and this exhibit allows them space to reclaim their stories and to honor their heritage and really find strength in their roots. And I think it's a great educational opportunity and a great community building opportunity to where all attendees can attend and reflect on their own identities and sort of engage in this cross-cultural dialogue. So we're really excited about it.
It sounds like some powerful messages there. Can you kind of describe maybe one or two that people will see?
The exhibit consists of 9 pieces. One of the art pieces, it represents the strife and struggles, the sacrifices of grandparents who made the move and the conscious decision to bring their families across the seas to the Americas. So there are pieces honoring sacrifices of their grandparents. There are pieces that are a little bit more fun. And if you really consider what the artist is saying, they're trying to find a balance between life in America and holding on to their Pacific Islander roots. So that's interesting to see. And then there's some pieces that are sort of looking up to modern day, more Western role models, and also trying to figure out how that fits with their identity. They're trying to find themselves. And I don't want to say too much because I believe, art can mean different things to different people. And so it would be really interesting to see people's reactions and what they get from the pieces that the artists are exhibiting tonight.
Yes. What do you hope that people come away with?
Just an appreciation for our Pacific Islander culture and heritage, and hopefully it helps to sort of shift how people think about who belongs in certain spaces like art galleries, where Pacific Islander voices aren't usually represented, and maybe Pacific Islander youth don't necessarily see themselves reflected in those types of spaces. But we hope that attendees will walk away again with a deeper appreciation for our Pacific Islander culture, and that people will see diversity as a great thing to celebrate, not something to be feared. Hopefully, just another reminder that when we open ourselves to learning from one another, we build stronger, more compassionate communities together.
Anything that you would maybe like to add that I haven't thought to ask you?
So this art exhibit, it's made possible by a faculty and staff grant through Salt Lake Community College. It's called the Community Engagement Grant. And so Salt Lake Community College is really vested in trying to build bridges and relationships with the community. And so the Salt Lake Community College Art Gallery has partnered with Malialole Polynesian Cultural Arts Ensemble, which is a local organization out of Glendale, Utah. They've been doing work in the community for over 20 years, and they are really all in when it comes to helping Pacific Islander youth stay connected to their roots. And really, Malialole has been instrumental in making this happen.
Jelana Aloy, the coordinator for the Roots of Resilience art exhibit. The exhibit opens with a reception at 6 o'clock tonight, and it runs through August 8th. Now, thanks for joining me today on Midday. Jeff Kaplan is here, and that means Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is up next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan, 93 degrees.